Hello guys, welcome to our channel. Who doesn't like to read a fantasy manhwa where the MC is OP as hell with a decent story and a good artwork? And Isekai is one of those genres which has some of the best OP characters out there. So here are 10 Isekai manhwas that I think you should check out if you're into this genre. Number 10. I'm Not the Overlord. Ryu Fang is the main protagonist of the manhwa known as I'm Not the Overlord. He's a young middle schooler who got his soul transferred into the body of an evil demon king after getting hit by a car. He has been given the task to save the world by the god along with the body of the owner, the demon lord. Now he has to work with the demon lord in order to save the world. The story was okay, but the art was good and had a few good fights. Give it a read if you have some spare time. Number 9. I Am an Evil God. The protagonist Zhe Yang is a very handsome fellow. Every girl that looks at him is stunned by his looks. But unlike other protagonists, he is annoyed by the girls who keep bugging him. Unlike most Isekai MCs, he too dies when a bus hits him. But instead of dying, he wakes up and finds himself beside a beautiful woman who claims to be his wife in a world of cultivators. But here comes the fun part. His wife, who looks so innocent and beautiful, is actually a demonic cultivator trying to suck his life force dry. When faced with this crisis, he finds out that he has a hidden window which only he can see. With the help of this window, he can learn things faster than anyone else with the points that he accumulates when someone has a strong feeling towards him, be it love or hate. And on top of this, he can even travel between worlds and learn techniques from other worlds. This is a very interesting manhwa. The art is beautiful and the flow of the story is really good. It is a really good read, give it a try. Number 8. Release That Witch. Chang Yan, an engineer who somehow wakes up in the body of Ronald Wimbledon, the fourth prince of the kingdom of Grey Castle after he died by somehow overworking himself. In this world, some women possessed superhuman powers. They are called the witches. These witches are considered evil and are treated as an enemy of this world. It is so bad that they are sold as slaves and undergo all sorts of tortures. But the protagonist, who knows their potential, decides to help them. This is a world-building manhwa where the MC uses his modern world's knowledge to change the world. He relies more on brain than physical power. The story is really smooth and the artwork is really well drawn. Definitely try this manhwa. In our list is My Wife is a Demon Queen. Zhe Ye is the protagonist of the story My Wife is a Demon Queen. He is just a normal human from Earth who was summoned to another world to aid the former demon queen Isabella in reclaiming her throne. In this world where boundary force is a very common thing that every human, demon or any other being possess, our MC doesn't even have a trace of boundary force. Despite not having boundary force or any other innate talent for combat, his intellect and imagination alone has helped him to earn his recognition as a prodigy of forging. The journey of the protagonist from being a weak kid to an OPMC is awesome. Every character in this manhwa is really well written. The love story between him and the beautiful demon queen is very subtle but yet good. And it has some of the sick jaw-dropping fights that will blow your minds off. Personally, its artwork is really beautiful and the story has depth. It is a really good read. The max level hero has returned. Our MC Devi is a weak prince of a small country. He was in coma for 6 years. During those 6 years, his soul was transferred to a place called the Hall of Heroes. Here time flows differently. He underwent a hellish training under those heroes for 1,000 years. Now when he returned to his home, he is determined to take revenge on all those who were responsible for his coma and his mother's death. The MC is always level-headed but ruthless towards the bad guys. It is great to watch the hero destroying his enemies. The plot is great and the art is really good. It is definitely a good manhwa with great potential. Check it out. Number 5. Dungeon Reset. Davun was an ordinary guy with nothing special, whose life became hell when he was summoned to a place called the dungeon, where he must play a deadly game, outlast dangerous monsters and life-threatening traps. To make things worse, his class was just an ordinary crafter class with zero combat skills. One day Dawn falls into a trap and was barely alive. When he was near death's door, his wounds were cured when his teammates cleared the dungeon as a reward for clearing the dungeon. But unlike others who were sent to the next stage, he was trapped in the same stage, causing a glitch when the dungeon was reset for the next batch of players. He then started to slowly understand what the dungeon was, and he gained weird but helpful skills. How he works in order to clear the dungeon and return home is quite fun to watch. This is really fun manhwa for the most part. It has a unique plot and a lot of really entertaining scenarios. The art is really good, so give it a shot. Number 4. The Second Coming of Gluttony. Seol Jihu is the protagonist of the story Second Coming of Gluttony. He had fought in a war in the alternate world called Paradise. When he was about to die, the goddess of that world granted him a wish for his hard work. He then decides to send his soul back in time. But as it was impossible for even a goddess to send his soul back in time, the goddess decides to send his knowledge back instead, which would look like a dream for him at times, but he soon realizes that it was not a dream. At the start of the story, Seol is a gambling addict, deep in debt and scorned by his family and ex-girlfriend. However, due to his opportunity, he has got a chance to redeem himself. He possessed the unique innate ability, Nine Eyes, which would show him which is the correct choice to choose, which also caused him the gambling addiction in the first place, but disappeared as a result of over-abusing the ability. However, experiencing a lucid dream about his past life, it once again reawakened, becoming a powerful ally on his long journey to the redemption. The story is really good, the fight scenes are also nice, the art is really good. The overall experience of reading this manhwa was pretty good, so you should read it. 3 in our list is FF Class Trash Hero. Kang Han Soo was a student with normal personality. He was teleported to a world called Fantasia and was called the hero all of a sudden. But despite that, he worked his ass off for 10 long years and KO'd the Demon King with ease. But instead of sending him back to his world, he was given a report card by the god. He had all his stats high except his personality was an F, as he had mercilessly killed his comrade who had tortured and abused him in the name of training. So now he was sent back to the first day when he was summoned. After the end of his first playthrough, Kang Han Soo developed an egoistic and narcissistic personality that doesn't bend before anyone. He was determined to return home no matter what. The story is super hilarious to watch when he just speedruns through the whole thing, and at a point you too will sympathize with him and accept that he was right, forcing a guy who doesn't want to be here to repeat doing something again and again against his will. This has a good art style and a very unique and one-of-a-kind story. But to those who don't like seeing the MC doing anti-hero things, this might feel a little bit off. But overall, this is one hell of a manhwa. Number 2. Her Summon. Jin Kyung, the protagonist of Her Summon, was labeled as a pedophile when a joke he said was misinterpreted on a live TV show of a girls group. He then ended up getting social anxiety disorder. 3 years later, because of his past incident, he started to love only the 2D world and ended up becoming a shut-in otaku. Then one day, as Jin Kyung was doing his thing as usual, he was summoned to another world and came face to face with a young beautiful summoner. This summoner is said to be the weakest in her peers. But in this world, where the MC was summoned to, his social anxiety disorder disappeared, making him the strongest summoned being there ever was. The manhwa has great, gorgeous artwork, and the story moves really well. And most of the fights are awesome. If you are looking for a fun and light story with some good artwork, then this is your pick. And number 1 in our list is the survival story of the SWAT King. Ryu Hanbin was a normal person who had just been discharged from his mandatory military service, and suddenly he was transported to another world by some mysterious being. He was given a guideline window which shows his status. He was first sent to a world where he had to increase his status to level 5 in his guideline to be able to move to the actual fantasy world. He did his utmost to get that status, but he was just too unlucky. When his status hits level 5, his status resets to level 1 due to some bugs in the system. He kept fighting the dangerous and terrifying monsters with only the hope that one day he will be able to get to the actual world. And mysteriously, he was able to move on to the next stage. Though his status only shows level 5, his actual abilities was far off from what it was showing. Though he was able to move to a world with humanity, he faced yet another obstacle. In this world, people like him who were brought from other worlds were hunted down, as they had a bad past with them. Now not only him, but also the people around him will be in grave danger. Though he is strong and mighty, he can protect them all. Now he has to face his past trauma and his present threats. This is a fun-packed adventure manhwa with many intense nerve-wracking moments, and the fights will make you fall in love. The art is awesome as well. Overall, this is an awesome manhwa which you will dig in if you watch past a few chapters. Hope you guys liked the video, and if you did like the video, do subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon for future notifications. See you guys in another video.